We'll start with the Rayner affair and the subsequent Labor reshuffle. It's confirmed a sad but important truth. A country that was once led by giants is now led by pygmies. Thatcher, Disraeli, Peel, Pitt the Younger, Churchill, replaced by misfits and mediocrities. Following this reshuffle, we now have a science secretary, Liz Kendall, with no science qualifications, a housing secretary, Steve Reed, with no experience in construction or housing, a business secretary in Peter Kyle, who has never worked in a business, and a deputy prime minister of one of the greatest countries the world has ever known, who, well, I'll let this beauty speak for itself.
Who acceded to the English throne at the age of 9 on the death of his father, Henry VIII, in 1547?
Henry VII.
Edward VI.
Unbelievable. Your Deputy Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to say the obvious. With the odd exception, the calibre of politicians has fallen off a cliff in the 21st century, and it's one of the driving reasons this country is in the mess that it's in today. Improving the quality of politicians should be at the top of the political agenda for every major party. We don't accept rubbish footballers. Bad CEOs get sacked, but for some reason, we let lightweights run this country. Triple their salaries for all I care. Introduce real-world experience requirements at a party level. Blow up the failed PPE to staffer to MP pathway and start encouraging our best and brightest to take up the cause. Because sacking or shuffling one dud out and moving another in won't change the fortunes of this country.
As a journalist, I always need to remember more in less time. And you know what I really hate? Taking notes. It wastes loads of time and you forget stuff. And that's where Plord comes in. This is the Plord Note, a sleek, pro-level AI note-taker that records and creates notes for you. Whether you're listening to a long podcast, stuck in a meeting, or on an important call, Plord captures everything at the tap of a button. Then it gives you a smart, structured summary with all of the key takeaways. It even recognises different speakers by their voice, and you can choose from bullet points, to-do lists, or even mind maps. Your data's safe too, with end-to-end encryption and global privacy compliance. And with Plord's built-in AI, you can search everything you've ever recorded just by asking a question. It's slim, magnetic, under 30 grams, lasts up to 60 days on standby, and over 1 million people are already using it. Hit the link in the description and use code GB10 for £10 off your Plord order. Save hours of time and never miss a detail again. Link in the description below.
Andy, I'll go to you first on this. Surely you must be able to concede that this is the weakest, in terms of political talent, the weakest group of politicians that's ever led this country.
I don't think that's probably true. I mean, one of the things in your monologue there wasn't actually true. Peter Kyle
fact-checked already?
Well, Peter Kyle worked at the Body Shop. He worked in the finance department at the Body Shop. He said he'd never worked in a business. The Body Shop, as far as I'm aware, is a public place to film. He was he worked in the finance department.
I think he didn't run the business.
It's just not true. He did work in a business, so that's that point. But also,
this is not a type of senior talent that we're looking to run a country, I think is the argument.
Well, I think, Peter Kyle is a great example of what's good about Britain. This is a guy that, failed out of high school, but then turned his life around, went to college as a mature student, got his A-levels, went all the way through to get his PhD, led a major charity, and has gone on to serve in government. That's exactly the kind of person we want in government, is it not?
Do you think he's a role model for us to all aspire to when it comes to governance?
No.
Leading question, I suppose.
Listen, I totally appreciate where Andy's trying to go. He's got to defend his Labour Party, I get it. But the vast majority of people, Andy, in this country will be looking at the Labour Party, they're looking at the front bench, and they go, how on earth are you more qualified than me? There's hundreds of CEOs. I mean, I think Nigel Farage has come up with this really good idea that he's going to stack his cabinet full of people with actual experience.
Unelected bureaucrats.
Well, but you're not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because your cabinet is only accountable.
I thought Reform UK's big point was that they don't want unelected bureaucrats. They don't want the blob, the establishment. They're just going to bolster it with their own people.
But Andy, the reality is that the cabinet's only accountable to the Prime Minister anyway. It's not like you can vote out a cabinet minister.
Well, no, I think it's important that they have scrutiny in the House of Commons for opposition MPs and backbench MPs.
And of course
do you not?
they'll get that through.
Well, no, they won't, because you just don't have that.
Well, one of your secretaries of state's a Lord now. Do you not think they're getting scrutiny?
Who?
Which one is it? It's one of your
Lord Chair.
It's your Attorney General.
Yeah.
Attorney General
Lord Hermer.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
No, yes, you do.
But he doesn't lead a...
Checkmate. Andy can't come back.
Lord Hermer doesn't lead a department.
Yes, he does. He's the Attorney General.
He offers private advice to the Prime Minister. He doesn't run...
Order. There will now be standards on this show moving forward. Alex? Rene, what do you make of all this?
Do you know, it puts me in mind of when I was at medical school and we had, well, I'm only going to say were DEI medical students who really had got in because they ticked certain boxes and they were resitting every single year of their exams and they were not up to being a doctor. And yet they will be doctors today. And that's the scary thing about that, because there will be people out there being treated by people year in, year out, who are not fit to be doctors, but because we want to put certain people in certain roles and tick certain boxes, they end up there. I would say David Lammy is a DEI hire.
Well, of course he's. Trey, I'm sure you don't necessarily agree with that, but what would you make of this? How would you improve the quality
Guys,
of
how is
politics?
this any worse than some of the other reshuffles and governments we've had? We've had Liz Truss, we've had lots of governments that have not been great.
Economically now, we are far worse than Liz Truss's budget. Our guilt prices are much higher.
True, but I think that's a reflection of what's happening in the world. I think it's a slippery slope a little bit to bring people outside of government who are good at business. Are they necessarily going to be working for the people, or are they going to be working for their buddies in business? But you're right in some sense, though. I don't get a sense that this reshuffle has made anyone feel more confident, really. Come on, let's be honest. But what is going on? Is it because it's a Labour reshuffle? If it was a Tory, would it not be the same?
I think
there is something about the kind of people that become politicians. I don't think they're doing it for the right reason.
Then you come back to the point that we come back to every single week, which is this is just more of the same old rubbish, and it's time to sweep them all out and start afresh.
Or with reform. I mean, they've lost 2 MPs in the better part of a year. They have the same churn just on a smaller scale because they've got a smaller parliamentary party. What makes you think that, Nigel Farage and Lee Anderson and the rest are any different?
Lee Anderson has worked down a coal mine. Richard Tice has worked in business. He's got his own portfolio of properties and he's run successful business. Nigel Farage worked in the city.
Yeah.
Sarah Pochin has been a public servant for 20 years. They have all had relevant experience in business.
But their track record in Parliament shows that they've got the same churn, if not more.
Well, there is a long way to go in this Parliament. Alex, what do you make of this? Do you think this will actually make a difference to Labour's fortunes?
Do you know what? There's a lot of criticism shoved at Shabana Mahmood, but she's been actually one of the more impressive ones.
True.
And frankly, I know that she's getting a lot of stick online.
Yeah, true,
But she's been one of the more impressive ones.
Agree.
I think she's dark horse for the next leader of the Labour Party.
I think she's...
I do.
I think she's been very pragmatic. I think she's actually been really good.
Can I tell you why? Can I just explain that point really, because people will be going, "You're nuts, Alex." It's because of 2 things. One, actually, she's got her track record so far. She got a bad deal. Justice was a disaster in this country. No prisons. What do? She was checkmated by the Tories. She's come down quite hard on the Sentencing Council. She's got that veto power, which the Tories never did, by the way. She's got now the power to stop those crazy people in the Sentencing Council, which is good. And also, I think her being a Muslim woman will help against any allegations of racism when Labour will hopefully try to get tough on stopping the vote. I mean, they probably won't deliver it, but if they do, at least there's a woman with some credibility there.
We like to deal with the elephants in the room on the Saturday 5. Rene, do you think it is an issue that there is a Pakistani Muslim person who is now the head of the Home Office?
No.
She's British.
Diplomatically put. Andy, do you think...
She's British Pakistani.
She's a British citizen.
I'm just asking questions.
Look,
Andy,
you would hold me to the same standards if it were a Jewish person or a Christian person, but we can see that Shabana Mahmood is slightly different to that because her skin colour. And so do I think that's a problem? No, I don't. Will it be a problem in the future? When she's having to say no to migrants coming here who are the same religion as her, we will see.
The thing is, people are, and I will defend some of the public here because they feel worried. They see this rise of Islamism in politics, and they are fearful of that, and they have every right to be fearful of that. It's not natural for this country. However, Shabana Mahmood does not strike me as an Islamist. She may be a Muslim woman, but she's not a radical extremist.
And as I said, we will see.
Yes, and as long as her job of putting the British people comes first before her faith, which is very important, she will be a success. As successful as any Labour politician could be, should I say.
There is a broader concern, though, that many people have that the Labour Party are trying to appeal to an increasingly Islamic demographic in marginal seats. Is that a cause for a concern, Andy?
I don't think so. I think, every party would want to win as many demographics as they can. I think, actually the leadership in number 10 with Morgan McSweeney, he's a big believer in the Blue Labour movement. I think you'd probably see more of a shift to the kind of reformed curious voter in our industrial heartlands, more so than any kind of seeking out the Muslim vote. I think, to be honest, the real concern there would be your party or the Green Party, to be honest. I think those are the ones going down that road.
You've got Zia Youssef. You've got Zia Youssef. You could say exactly the same.
Exactly.
But when Zia Youssef talks, he doesn't talk like a Muslim man who's looking out for Islam. He talks like a man who's working for reform and wants to bring change to our country.
And that's one of the problems when we start criticising everything that we deem as DEI. The minute you've got someone of colour or a woman or someone from a different faith, it's always assumed they don't really know what they're doing and they're kind of in there as some sort of mole or plant or just a shoe-in. I think judge people by their performance on the job.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
I mean, people point to people like Diane Abbott, of course, because she's a black woman, but she is horrendous and she can't count. And she's, in my opinion, a terrible politician.
But you would judge her on actually whether she does well or not.
I'm judging her on what she says and does.
Unfortunately, I think what Will said is a lot of people are going to see that. They're going to see a Muslim woman and just assume she's going to be talking to her mates across and saying, come across. I just think that's wrong.
Well, look,
That's just
unfortunately,
wrong,
I think the
isn't it?
left have brought this upon themselves
No,
by
they
making
haven't,
identity
necessarily.
central to their mission over the last 20
So has the
odd
right.
years.
The right has done the same.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
Well, Suella Braverman was a brown woman. Priti Patel was a brown woman.
I think the left have brought this upon themselves, but I'm going to have to just leave it there for the moment.